Hello everybody, welcome to my channel Chess and Tech with Alex. Today I'm going to be showing you an opening with white pieces in chess. It's a very interesting, simple and very beginners friendly opening. It's the call system, but specifically I'm going to be teaching you the call system according to King Enigma. I'm a huge fan of King Enigma and I like his the openings he teaches. And the call system is, I would say, the easiest to learn because of the patterns are mostly the same. So he's a Spanish YouTuber, so he creates his content in Spanish. So I figured that it will be interesting to have some of his openings explained in English. So that's what I'm going to be sharing with you in this video. So if you are new to chess, if you are below 500 ELO, I'm going to be starting this series of videos going from 400 to 1500 maybe, according using the King Enigma's openings. Specifically the call system for whites, and then we'll see for black pieces, which are going to be recommended to you. So let's go to the board. And let me tell you, I'm playing on chess.com platform and on 10-minute time frame. So this is rapid style. I will be playing only with whites to teach you the calls opening. Unrated games, because I am like a 1500 ELO players, and I'm going to start with an account on 400 points of ELO, so I don't want my opponents to lose ELO facing me. So that's why I'm playing unrated games. And the rating range is between minus 25 points below 400 and plus 100 points above 400. So let's begin. Let's find our first opponent. Okay, here we are, specifically with Elsham with 400 points. So our first move is going to be d4, the queen's pawn. So our opponent is playing the England gambit. Specifically, this is one of the variations I hate. I don't like this one. So we're going to accept the gambit. A gambit is when the opponent is offering you a free piece. But it's not free. It's because he's going to gain a positional preference. Okay. Now, this is a very interesting opportunity because our opponent has just advanced his d pawn to d5, and our pawn is an e5. So we can do a very strange and very special movement of pawn, which is this one at the side. It is called, oh, I forgot what's the name in English. En passant. En passant is the name in English. So probably he didn't know about that move. Okay, now he is still not capturing the pawn. So we have the chance of capturing another pawn, and I think it will be a good thing to do that now. So let's capture this pawn again. We are already winning by 3 pawns, but he's going to recapture that pawn x. Oh my god, this is really a beginner, because again didn't saw that we are threatening to capture his queen. So let's go to capture his queen and crown queen. Every time you take a pawn to the last row, you have the possibility of capturing, of crowning that pawn and converting that pawn into another piece. So again, let's keep with our opening in this very awkward and rare game. Let's go to apply one of the first principles, which is occupying the center of the board with our pawns to control all these squares. Well, of course, our opponent abandoned the game. Okay, we have a new opponent. So d4, this is the first move of the call system. Let's see which defense our opponent chooses to use. The most common defense is d5. There you go, d5. Let's go knight f3. Let's see what he does next. Knight c6, very common, although it's kind of a mistake because we can go c4 and start gaining space, but we will do e3 just to show you how the call system should work. Okay, now my next move usually will be bishop f3, but our opponent could make the move knight to b4, and then we'll be attacking our knight, and we don't want that because it's very important to keep the white bishop. So we're going to do c3 to prevent our opponent to come to this square, to b4. Okay, he plays, that's a mistake because he's given away a pawn, because we can capture this pawn for free, and we are pinning his knight. Now his knight is pinned because the king is behind, so he cannot move his knight. So probably what he would want to do right now is a move like this one, bishop to d7, so he can protect his knight. So I'm not interested in trading that knight, but so far I'm going just to keep developing my pieces with knight from b to d2. B knight, because we have a knight on f3 that also can come to d2. So that's why we say knight b to d2. Let's see what's our opponent's next move. Okay, he's attacking our bishop, so that's a good move from him. So let's go back to d3, where our bishop is perfectly located. Let's see what's the next move. So my next move, probably, if our opponent doesn't do anything strange, will be castling, short castling. Oh, okay. This is an interesting move. Now he's forwarding 2 steps his e-pawn, his king's pawn. So the problem is that this pawn is protected by only one piece, which is this knight. But it is attacked by 2 of our pieces. So we can capture that pawn and 1 second pawn. Now, let's do it with our knight, because we already have 1 pawn advantage and now a second pawn. So if he each takes our knight, he didn't take our knight, but we are going to take his bishop. We are interested on trading pieces because we have 2 pawns of advantage. So he can recapture with the queen or with the knight. Okay, I think recapturing with the queen, it would have been better because it will give more development to his pieces. So preventing, then probably his next move is going to be castling short. I'm going to move my queen to prepare it for one of the most common maneuvers of the call system. There you go. So this is one of the most important movements in the call system, e4, to create this rupture in the center. Now our king is not protected, so he could move his rook to e8, and that will be a little dangerous. So let's castle as well first, and then we can move, make the move e4. Okay, queen to f6. Let's go to make e4. He should capture with his pawn. On an ideal situation, this is not what would have happened. So we can now capture with the queen and threaten directly checkmate on h7. But let's take our knight first and capture with our knight to threaten his queen and also the bishop. Oh, he made a huge mistake. He didn't notice that our bishop was gathering that square, so we can now take his queen. Probably he's going to resign now. Okay, let's then capture this bishop here. When you are in a winning position like this one, with a lot of material of advantage, you can start trying to, the best strategy is to simplify the position, to change as many pieces as possible. So we're going to make a move now here, queen to e4, and now we are doing two things. We are threatening checkmate on h7, and at the same time we are threatening this knight, which is unprotected. So our opponent chooses to protect himself from the checkmate, which is a good choice as well. So let's see how can we end up this game in a fast way. We have two choices. Two choices. We can capture this knight, or we can give a check here and then capture the knight. I think I like more that option, although he could cover himself with this rook and then we couldn't capture, but then we could come from bishop to c4. Let's do this. Let's see what happens. e6. We are in a winning position, in a one position anyway. So let's see what happens. Okay, he chooses to move his king. Now we're going to capture this knight. Give him another check. And we can capture this knight after. He protects himself with the rook. Okay, so we're going to take this knight. This is a completely won position. Okay. So, let's capture this free pawn. Let's see what our opponent does. He just resigned. The position is actually completely lost. Okay, new game. Let's go with d4. The first move of the Cole system. Let's see how our opponent responds. d5, most common response. So we're going to knight to f3. Knight c6. So let's do e3. Is one of the options we have. Bishop g4, pinning our knight. This is not an absolute pin because we can move the knight, but we will lose our queen. So let's do something to see if I can show you a trick. This here is not a trick. This is a totally valid movement. But there is it could lead to some tricks at some point. Okay, and now that's a mistake. Because now we can do queen a4 and capture his knight on the next move, but he should just simply go back to c6. He didn't see it, and again he's just covering with his pawn, but I can capture the pawn because the pawn is unprotected. So the best move here will be capturing the undefended knight. Now he trade pawns. So let's just keep our developing the knight. Now he could choose to capture my knight now and double our pawns, but that wouldn't be advisable because he's down for one piece and it will be losing more pieces. So he wants to keep as much pieces as you can when you are on a losing position or with disadvantage. So now here we're just going to simply take this pawn, which is also undefended, and then we could take this pawn with the queen or with the bishop as well. if he decides not to protect him, which I think, oh, he's attacking our queen. So we're going to capture this pawn with our queen. Now we have a serious threat in this position. And the threat is to play knight to c7. And that will be check to the king. The king cannot move, so they need to capture the knight, and that will be only possibility. There you go. He didn't saw the movement, that move. So we're going to let's see, because now the king can move to this square. Let's see what will be the best move possible. Oh, I think we can go here and check the king again. So let's go check the king, and in the worst case scenario, we can take the bishop on the fork. But I think we're going to make a better move than that one. So if he captures with a queen, I'm going to take his queen, and he's completely lost. So his best move here will be move the king to this square. But then we're going to check the king again here. And I think the only move will be coming this square, and then we play queen c5, and that will be checkmate, if I am correct. There we go. So knight to e5, that's check. Or he could go this square as well, but there is a problem with that play, and that is we can play where our queen is under threat, so we need to be careful. What do we play? So let's just capture the bishop and check the king. It only has this square here to go. He just decides to resign because the position was very, very bad. It was very compromised. Again, we're playing 10 minutes unrated because we don't want to hurt anybody. There you go. This is our first opponent. Awedani, 464 ELO points. So we start with d4. Let's see how our opponent responds to the call system. d5, the most common response. So let's go with knight f3. Again, I'm using the exact, oh, this is a new one. f6. This is another of the possibilities. So let's go to e3 to keep with our call system. This is the traditional line. Let's go bishop d3. This is the ideal order of development of the pieces. Again, this is perfectly fine. Now, knight b to d2. He probably is going to castle now. Oh, he didn't. Well, you can castle now or move the queen to e2. I personally like to move the queen to e2 because we have completely prepared our process of attacking the center and creating the threat of mate with the battery of queen and bishop on h7. But he played the queen to e7, so let's go to castle. Let's see, probably he's going to castle as well. And now we're going to make the most important move of the call system, e4. Now we have a threat here, and the threat was, let me go back, the threat was to play e5 and pinning two of his pieces, so forcing him to change one piece by one of our pawns. So in this circumstance, we could, let's say, exchange pieces like this. Now look what he did. he's threatening also my two pieces. But now we're going to see if he noticed the danger of this position. I'm going to take this pawn instead of eating here, is instead of capturing, sorry, capturing the knight of the bishop. So the purpose of doing it in this order is to see if he takes my pawn. So here's the thing: I'm going to move my queen to e4, and now I'm threatening checkmate, but at the same time I'm threatening, and he made a mistake. And again, this is like beginners, but at much more higher levels, you will see the same mistake. He just eat the piece because he see that his piece is protected by queen and knight, but he didn't saw the checkmate. And again, this combination of the call system, like e4, after this, when they capture with the pawn on d5, d captures e4, you come with the knight, and then they eat with their knight, and then you come with your queen, and many people misses this threat of checkmate. I have done this in bullet games above 1,000 points of ELO. I've done this in blitz games above 1,200 points of ELO. In rapid games, as this one above 1,500 or 400 points is not as common, but it happens because you're looking fast. You're just moving fast. Let's see, if we flip the board, this is what our opponent is watching. So he sees you capturing with the queen, and for some reason they missed to see this threat. They missed it. So this is a very it's not a trick, it's just a simple development of the pieces, but it's very frequent that people fall and forgot about this the checkmate threat on h7. Okay, let's go to our next game. There you go. So d4, this is always our first move. d5, knight to f3, knight f3, knight f6, so e3. Normal development of the code system. Let's see how our opponent reacts. If he plays something like e5, that will be a mistake because we will capture the pawn with our knight on f3. Because this square is not protected by the black pieces. So this is a very common mistake on beginners. You don't take the queen out for a tour that early on the game. That's not never ends well. Let's see what happens. So let's keep with our regular and normal development with queen d3. Okay. Now another common mistake in the opening is moving the same piece twice. He could have developed his knight here, or taking more pawns into the center to try to get the castling as fast as possible, but he didn't. Instead, he's attacking with two pieces this point, with the queen and with the horse, with the knight, sorry. But again, that point is defended twice by our queen, by our rook, and our knight. So no problem, no threat there. So let's just keep with our development according to the plan, which is knight b to d2. Let's see what's the next move of our opponent. You see, that's a mistake. A common mistake of beginners is not counting the defended pieces against the defending pieces against the attacking pieces. Again, as I told you that he was attacking this piece with two of his pieces, with the knight and with the queen. But I'm also defending with two pieces, the knight and the rook. And you cannot attack piece and capturing if you don't have an extra piece. So if he had like a rook right here attacking that pawn, he could have captured without losing material, because it has 3 attacking pieces against 2 defending pieces. So always count the pieces. So we can now, without any problem, just capture, let's go, his knight, and he just lost the knight because he cannot capture with the queen, because I will be capturing his queen with the rook. Probably he's not realizing of that in this moment. So always count the number of pieces that are attacking one point and the number of pieces who are defending that point. Okay, he moved his queen again. That's another mistake, because he has now 0 pieces, as you can see, developed, and he has moved his queen again. And again, we can now make an undiscovered attack. Once we remove this knight from here, we can forward our pawn and leave the knight completely, the bishop attacking the queen. So let's do that. Let's develop a knight again and move our knight again to add extra protection to this knight, so they protect each other. Just in case, then in the future he can move pawn e6 and then bishop d6, and it's attacking this point again. So let's just go on e4 again. This is what I told you. I am attacking his queen, and he didn't notice again. You see? That's why it never ends well, taking the queen out for a ride early in the game. So now he is completely lost. Let's gain more space and bother that knight. And he resigns again, because he's completely lost in the position. Okay, let's take another game. Probably with 10 games or 15 games is enough to gain 100 points. Again, d4, d5, knight to f3, knight to c6, so e3. Again, every time the black pieces develop their knights to c6, I like to avoid them to come to b4, because that will be attacking our bishop here. Now, this movement, bishop to f5, this is what is called, sometimes it's called anti-Cole variation, because this avoids us to move our bishop here without being captured, and we will lose our white square bishop, which is very important in the Cole system. So we just got to move forward, and let's just do this move first, c3, so to avoid that the knight comes to b4, because that knight there will be very upsetting for us. And again, he probably is wanting to go here and then combine here with the bishop and knight, so he can give a check to our king and capture a rook. So we want to avoid that. So let's keep the development. Bishop to d3. He's probably going to trade bishops, and that's fine. That's one of the possibilities of the Cole system. Is the one I hate. One of the my least favorite. I hate this variation when the opponent doesn't let us keep our white pieces, white squares, bishop. Okay, now if we develop our knight here, we are leaving our bishop undefended. So we could even either castle or move our queen to e2. I personally, in this type of positions, like to move the queen to e2, probably when the machine will say that the best move is castling. But I don't think this is a mistake. This is probably an inaccuracy. But I'm sure we won't have any problems. Let's see what's our... Okay, now another beginner's mistake. You don't move one piece 2 times in the opening. That's the waste of time. So now we have our perfect setup of the whole system. Look this structure. This structure of pawns from B2, C3, D4, E3, and F2. This is like a pyramid of pawns, and this is the ideal position. Again, you never develop a knight to the square. A knight is very lonely and weak when they are on the sides of the board. So I don't know why, but the best move for that knight was coming to F6. So this is a good time for castling. Let's see what's the next move of our opponent. Okay, castling. Now we are on the ideal situation for the trick I told you about the mate checkmate on H7. This is the perfect position. So let's go with the most important move of the call system, E4. Pawn to E4. Usually the most common play is to capture that pawn with the D pawn. Let's see what the opponent chooses to do. Interesting. He moves his bishop. Okay. Let's bother this bishop here to see if he wants to trade with the knight. We could also have bothered this one instead. He's probably going to trade. Oh, he taked. Okay, we have to make a decision here. Let's eat that pawn with the queen to prove the theory that they, most of the time in this range of ELO, they don't realize of the threat of the checkmate on H7. Let's see what happens. Probably the best, you see, again, the best move for our opponent here was probably this one, moving the bishop to F5 to threaten our queen and make us and force us to go back to E2. But again, he didn't realize of the checkmate threat, and we're going to checkmate our opponent again. You see how useful and how effective is this strategy with the whole system, and it's something that flows by itself. It's not hard to remember. So let's look for our next opponent. There you go. Let's go with D4, D5, knight to F3, knight to F6, E3, E3, E6, bishop to D3, bishop to D6. Now, knight B to D2. Probably is going to castle. He develops his other knight, and we finish our ideal structure of the call system with the move E2. The machine probably is going to say that the best move is castling, but again, because we want to do this trick, it's not a trick. This strategy is always threatening the checkmate with queen and bishop in H7. This is why we do it. Okay, in this position, I would say that castling is the best choice to protect our king and remove our queen from being in front of our queen. Sorry, removing our queen from being in front of our king. So let's go with E4. We are on the ideal situation here to do the same attack. Okay, now what happened? Our opponent play e5. He didn't take the pawn. So we can either take the pawn, and he can recapture with the knight, and then we do queen e4, but he could just go back with the knight to f6 and then be threatening our queen. So let's do capture in e5. Pawn captures e5. Okay, now he captured our pawn. This is almost I think it's the exact same position like 2 games ago. So let's capture with the knight. He's probably going to capture our pawn now. Okay, he captured with the knight. Let's capture. Let's trade this knight here. This is probably just a good play, good as anyone. And he decides to capture our pawn now, our other horse, our other knight, sorry. So again, we have the opportunity now of capturing with our queen, and we are doing the same threat of checkmate. And he didn't saw it again, because he's also threatening us with checkmate. But we are playing with whites, and we have the advantage of playing first. So checkmate again. How many checkmates I have had in this video? All of them has been with the same exact strategy. So again, let's do another one. I'm going to stop this video about 1 hour, then I will edit it to remove the waiting times. Here we are. Now, d4, that's always our first move. d5, quick player. Knight f3. There you go. That's a mistake. You never take the queen out to take a walk at the beginning of the game. In the open, you never do that. So let's just keep with our plan. e3. Always the same moves. You see, this check is a waste of time, because I can just do c3 and his queen is under attack now. And now he make the mistake of not seeing our queen there. You see why you don't take your queen out at the beginning of the game? Because you can lose it. Okay, he defended himself well. Let's just go to the same square of queen d1. Okay, let's keep with our development. d3, bishop d3. This is a mistake as well. If you just lost your queen, you don't go around changing pieces. You want to keep as much as possible pieces in the board once you have this so big disadvantage. So let's just castle our king now. We have one queen of advantage. This is a completely lost position for our opponent. Now we can just capture the pawn and at the same time threatening our the knight. So let's do that, because this could lead to very important, very interesting positions. Again, this is not exactly how the call system goes. This is a terrible mistake by our opponent. Terrible mistake. Let's see what would be the easiest way of punishing our opponent. Just capture his rook and give him a check. The only moves it has is going to a d7. That's what he did. And now we're going to play bishop b5. he could just move here to c6, but he didn't. And we can't just we got to be careful. We cannot come here because he can capture with his knight. So we could capture his bishop as well, but let's just hit this check first. Okay, let's go to d7 because again we have more than enough pieces. We don't need to take all the pieces. That's completely unnecessary. Let's move our pawn to e4 to attack the king. Let's see what his next move is. Okay, so let's go to f5, and that's checkmate. I didn't realize actually that it was checkmate. I didn't check all the squares, but it's actually the king doesn't have a place to go. So that's checkmate. Okay, 16 moves. Let's go to our next game. There you go. So d4, cold system, d5, knight f3, pawn to e6. Now let's go in with e3, e3. Now here, the best move according to the machines is do this, c4, then he captures on c4 and we recapture with the bishop. But at this level of ELO, I would prefer to play c3 to avoid the knight and the bishop come to the b4 square, start bothering us and controlling the d3 square, which we want for our bishop to go there. Now, g6, he probably wants to do the fianchetto. He put his bishop in this position. So we just keep our development as normal so far, just to wait what happens. Knight b to d2. He's probably going to play bishop to interesting play. That's odd, I would say. Let's just castle. Keep with our normal development of pieces. He castle. Now, this is a new position. So what I would like to do is to eliminate this bishop because it's very active on this diagonal. So we don't want that. So and we cannot make the threat of mate in h7 because he moved forward his g pawn, so that's no longer possible. But we can do the maneuver of coming with our knight here and then put it here to see if he take the hood. He bites the hood and then let us give him the checkmate on h7. So let's just continue with the development of our pieces by going with rook e1 to support the advance of the pawn on e3. Again, he's moving the same pieces more than once. That's commonly a mistake. It's keep the developing of our pieces. There is no threat so far for us. No real threat. So our next move is going to be g4. Now we can make that move. Interesting. So let's force this knight out of here with the move h3. You're probably going to go is the only square he can go is this one, f6. So he has to move a third time his knight. That's why you shouldn't move the first piece, the piece in the opening 2 times. Now we cannot make e4 because the e4 square is guarded by 2 pawns. And if we do e4, one is going to capture, and it's going to be making us a fork, attacking 2 of our pieces, and we will be losing material. So, this is a very interesting position. So I would like to keep my white square bishops. That's why I'm going to withdraw it to the back. Okay, so let's take this square with our bishop. He probably is going to trade bishop with our knight. Sorry, he's probably going to trade with his knight. Okay. He didn't trade. So let's keep with our development. We want to develop this knight more towards the center. And in this case, if it takes, we're going to recapture with our knight. And if it doesn't, our next step is going to be trading that knight. So we take that knight out of the picture, which is bothering us. Let's trade knights so we can occupy this important square in the position with our knight. Now the mood has been set for sacrifice. A sacrifice in chess is when you intentionally sacrifice one of your pieces, like a bishop or a rook or a knight, by exchanging it, capturing a pawn, because of a tactical strategy. So, I just realized that our opponent made a mistake, because by developing our knight here, actually I haven't realized of that, we were threatening to capture his knight. So he leave his knight undefended, and we're going to capture his knight now. We are now threatening to capture his undefended bishop as well. Oh, sorry about that. Let's see what he decides to do. Okay. He is threatening our knight, but our knight is defended. So remember, we still have the threat of coming here with our bishop and give a checkmate if we perform it the right way. So the only thing preventing us from doing that is this pawn here. So I will put a trick to our opponent. I'm going to take my knight here to see if he captures. And if he captures, I'm going to play bishop to h7. That's check. The only possible move is h8. Then I'm going to withdraw the bishop. It's going to be in check, and then will be checkmate. So let's do that. He can think that we made a mistake. There you go. He bite the hook. So we're going to do now bishop h7. That's check. King h8 is the only move. Now we go bishop g6. He's in check again. He can cover with the bishop, but he's just going to take it one move longer to give to the checkmate now. And now he moved there, and we can perform the checkmate. You see, that type of movement. Now we probably have a brilliant move in this game, because that move of the knight, So that's probably was a brilliant move. Let's see if we can analyze it later. Okay, so we hit the hour. That will be all for today. So if you get to this far of the video, I hope you have found this video helpful. This is just a show, a sample in a few games, unrated games. Again, I'm making an emphasis on that because none of my opponents lost ELO points because of these games with me. So see you in the next one. Probably we're going to be facing opponents from 500 points ELO and above. And let's see how that goes. Okay, so see you in the next video.